literally can't picture an iPhone not having a mute switch. Like, sure, you can always do it with software, yes, but that I would bet anyone $1 million right now that the next 5 years of iPhones will all have a mute switch because it's just such a part of the iPhone's design. Yeah, so that was 2022, and some of you are realizing that immediately the next iPhone that came out, they replaced that mute switch with an action button. So clearly I was wrong. I don't know who I send that money to, but that's the beauty of the internet, is the hot takes just live out there forever. So I went on Twitter and Threads this past week and asked you guys for your hottest takes, and got quite a few of them. Some of them kind of cold takes, to be honest, but then some of them ranged all the way up to scalding hot, borderline need to be institutionalized for it type of takes. And I actually agree with some of them, which is really fun. So let's just dig right into these, shall we? Also, before we do, a little merch shout out. I'm holding the mic because of the basement setup, but this new stuff is all finally live at mkbhd.com, which is very exciting, so check it out. And also, I got to give a shout out every time I do one of these videos to Jimmy High Roller. He does these types of hot take videos with basketball takes, so if you want to check out any of that stuff, I'll leave a link below the like button. They're always out there. Inspiration for this series, but here we go. So first take, humanoid robots are not the optimal form factor and are a bad idea. And damn, okay, starting off pretty heavy with this one. And I think my default, is that I agree with this one, but there's a whole section of people who are watching this who are already typing in the comments about how much they disagree. So humanoid robots have been in the news quite a bit recently. I mean, they've been a thing for years, from Boston Dynamics back in the day, and they've gotten more and more advanced all the way up till now. You've probably seen my video on the Neo robot, which is a soft cloth little 60-pound humanoid chore robot thing. And it's true that humans forever have always loved the idea, or at least thought about, fantasized about having humanoid robots live amongst them, like from the Jetsons assistant all the way till, what we see in these startups, what they're trying to ship. And the idea is that the world that we've built around us is designed for the human form. All the handles, all the shapes, all the spaces, everything that we've made is designed to fit the human body, which makes total sense. So if you want one multitasking robot that can do everything around you in your life, well, then that robot should be human-shaped, so it can sit right in and grab the same handles and move the same stuff that a human would. The logic is there. But I think the more you think about it, the other side of that logic becomes way more convincing, at least to me, which is that you are unnecessarily inheriting all of the limitations of the human form. So it's kind of cool that you can build like an upright bipedal robot that balances on 2 feet and walks around and grabs stuff. But like, use this example. The self-driving car is perfect, right? Like, do you want a car that you can put your humanoid robot in that can drive it? Or do you want the car itself to be the robot? Having a humanoid robot that drives and also has blind spots and also can't see behind it and also can't see all the places humans can't see is not a good idea. But the car being the robot and having sensors and cameras on the front and the back and the sides and reviewing all those things at the same time is clearly a better driver. So really there's just a fork of only two possible futures that you believe in with robotics. Either we will have humanoid robots that can do all of the tasks that humans don't want to do anymore, and since it's humanoid shaped, it can fit into human places, and it can do the coffee by using the coffee maker, and then it can do the laundry and vacuum and do all these, load the dishes. It can do everything the way a human could. Or each one of those appliances is the robot, and the coffee maker makes the coffee by itself, and the dishwasher loads the dishes by itself, and the vacuum is a little Roomba on the ground, and all of these things that your humanoid robot could do are now just being done by a specialized robot on their own. And I tend to think that that second one feels like the more likely future. I'm not an expert, clearly, but that's what I think. Even if it is one robot that goes around everywhere that does everything, why not give it 6 arms and 6 legs? Like, why does it have to look like a human and have eyes on the front? That's all I'm saying. Anyway, I think this is a good take. So all right, next take is that the bottom charging port on the Magic Mouse is just fine.
Getting the ergonomics well done and was key.
With Magic Mouse?
Yeah.
Okay, so the Magic Mouse originally came out in 2009, believe it or not. That was when I was in high school. I'm 31 now. It's been a long time, but this was, a really cool, slim, ultra beautiful mouse. It's the first multi-touch mouse for the Mac, and it had AA batteries in the bottom. So if you ever had the batteries die, you just pop the batteries out and replace them, and it would last 1 to 2 months on a charge. So then in 2015, when they finally updated the Magic Mouse, this is now when I'm a senior in college, they updated it with rechargeable batteries in the bottom. So you could recharge it, and they put that lightning port to recharge the mouse on the bottom of the mouse, which instantly made it one of the most memeable, weird products of all time from Apple. But again, it would last about a month on a charge, and similar to a lot of other products that you don't really have to charge that often, if you ever did need to charge it, you could plug it in for like 5 minutes and get a couple hours of use out of it. So if your mouse ever did die, you could flip it over and plug it in, and it would be useless for 5 minutes, and then you could go back to using it, and then remember to charge it overnight to get the full 0 to 100. It would only take like 2 hours. So, that does mean that the absolute worst case scenario would be like you're in the middle of doing something very important and your mouse dies, so you flip it over and plug it in for 5 minutes while you wait for it to charge up, and then you're good to go. Which doesn't seem that bad in a vacuum, but we're not in a vacuum. And that's very important to realize that every single other mouse probably ever made has found a way to charge it while you continue to use it. And that's the reason the Magic Mouse is so ridiculous. And really just the fact that the Magic Mouse's design still now in 2025 hasn't changed since I was in high school, and it's still like $80 and it still has all the downsides it has from all those years ago is crazy to me. It's wild that Apple is a multi-trillion-dollar company and hasn't updated it. Maybe they'll make a new mouse someday soon. But as of right now, I cannot say that this is a good take. It's a bad one. Okay, so within 5 years, smartphones will be obsolete. And, well, that is definitely a hot take. But it does feel like there is an entire chunk, like a section of Silicon Valley that is dedicated to hedging their bets against this take. Like when you hear Meta talk about smart glasses, the way they talk about it, they really see it as potentially the next big computing platform, and they constantly describe a world where you spend way less time on your phone and you move on to doing most of your interaction with computing and the world around you through these AR glasses. And similar vibes from a lot of other standalone AI device companies, which a lot of them have failed, but the idea is still that you start to use your phone less and less and move on to this new thing. So you can see how someone would think like, okay, we are starting to see the seeds of like the next big computing platform from a smartphone everywhere around us. And it's just a matter of time before one of them really grows and blossoms and catches on and everyone stops using their phones. So I get it, but the reason this take is so crazy hot is 5 years. 5 years is a ridiculously short amount of time, just as far as the life cycle of these major technologies go. That would be crazy if people stop using their phones in 5 years. I don't know if you realize how popular smartphones actually are right now if you think they'll all be obsolete in 5 years. Like this actually reminds me of one of the hot takes from last time, or like 2 years ago I did this video, and someone's take was that the Cybertruck would outsell the Ford F-150 by 2026, which that obviously aged poorly. But it didn't seem like that crazy of a take because the Cybertruck had all this hype and it had like 1 million pre-orders. But people don't realize how popular the Ford F-150 actually is. It's been the #1 best-selling truck in America for like 46 years straight or something like that. And I feel like this take, all it does is just underestimate the popularity of smartphones today. So, maybe there is an explosion of these next AI devices or smart glasses or headsets or whatever it is in the next couple of years. That is totally possible. But smartphones being obsolete in that time, that's going to take a way longer time, even in the most optimistic, futuristic version of things. I think 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, maybe I could see it. But yeah, smartphones still are kind of OP.